Hello, everybody. Good evening to you all. Can you people hear me? Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Good evening. Good evening to you all. Are you people able to see the screen? Okay. Okay. All right. So, welcome to the session, everyone. And today we are going to discuss the questions from Unit 11, Part D, that is molecular evolution. So, in molecular evolution, basically, we'll be talking about the neutral theory of evolution. We'll be talking about molecular clocks. We'll be talking about phylogenetic tree. So, how to read a tree, how to make a tree from the information that is given in the question. And also, we'll be talking about orthologous and paralogous genes. So, these are all the subtopics which are included in molecular evolution in Unit 11D. And that is all we'll be talking about in the class. Okay, so are you all ready for some question discussions? So all these questions are from previous year question papers, but definitely there's been a lot of questions and I cannot take them all. But I tried to took them of different varieties and I tried to took them the number of questions that we can solve in today's class. All right. So starting with the first question, which one of these observation about a population could be used to argue that neutral evolution had occurred? A. High levels of polymorphism. B. Functionally less constrained parts of molecules evolving at a slower rate. C. Inconsistent rates of molecular evolution. And D. Functionally more constrained parts of molecules evolving at a faster rate. Yes, what do you guys think will be the answer? Which one of these observation about a population could be used to argue that neutral evolution had occurred? Yes, can I have some more responses? Only Rahul has responded. What about others? No idea. Okay, now I'm getting some response. Well, Rahul and Surender are correct. Uh, Sorry, Tulshi and Shivani, you guys are not right. Okay. So first of all, let's see what does neutral evolution say. So neutral evolution, it is the theory that was given by Moto Kimura, a Japanese scientist, and he said that uh, Darwin's theory of natural selection is correct. Okay, that is, changes will happen. Okay, and whatever change increases the ability of the organism to perform to survive better, they will be selected. Okay, but chance of selection, like chance of occurrence of natural selection, is very rare. Why very rare? And because of that rarity, we don't see mutants every day around us. Okay, but what he said, that mutations are constantly happening in the genome, but mutations are happening and we are not seeing them. That means what? That those mutations are happening in those regions of the genome which does not affect the function of the protein. Okay, so those mutations usually will call them as synonymous mutations. So what does this synonymous mutations are doing? So this synonymous mutations are happening in the nucleotide sequence, but they are not affecting the function or the structure of the protein. Okay, so they are, and because they are not affecting the structure of and the function of the protein, so these mutations are selectively neutral. Okay, so according to this theory of that neutral evolution, it says that most of the mutations, okay, are selectively neutral, and since they are selectively neutral, so they does not change an individual's ability to survive or to perish in the population. Okay, only very few mutations will be helpful, and they only will they only will be naturally selected. Okay, so if we see high levels of polymorphism, what is polymorphism? Poly means many. So if a gene or a particular locus is a nucleotide sequence at a particular location can be present in many different forms. Okay, that is what is called as polymorphism in the population. So if many forms are present, that means all these forms are not affecting or are not harmful for the individual, and that's why they are present in the population. Okay, so if they are not harmful, so are they all helpful? Now that is also not possible that they are all helpful. So what is possible? That they are selectively neutral. Okay, they are not giving individual any benefit, nor it is harming the individual. Okay, so this is what is called as polymorphism. I am sorry for the technical difficulty that happened. Can you all hear me and see the screen now? All right. So we were talking about, we were talking about this question about neutral evolution. So the sign that neutral evolution has happened is because if we see high levels of polymorphism in the population. Okay, so polymorphism means at the same place different nucleotide sequence can be present, and that is possible because it is not harming the functionality of the of the individual. Okay, so it is not increasing the it is not making it more beneficial, that change, or neither the change is harmful, and because of that this multiple forms place only can be. Am I audible now? I'm sorry, there's something wrong is happening. Looks like some connection issue is there. Okay, so next question, moving on. Depicted below is the phylogenetic tree of the depicted taxa. Based on that, which one of the following statement is correct? So here there are two kinds of grouping made. Okay, so this is group X. Okay, this entire square is for group X, and this entire group is for group Y. Okay, so what are the options given? Group X is monophyletic, group Y is polyphyletic, group X is paraphyletic, and Y is monophyletic. Both X and Y are monophyletic. Group X is monophyletic, Y is paraphyletic. Yes, what will be the answer? Yeah, I'm sorry, Sunshine, that is wrong. Yes, apart from that, yeah, everybody has given the correct answer. So here we have to remember the terms. Okay, the terms that we use for for different kind of groupings. So when we are making the phylogenetic tree, so if the so there's a group. Okay, so monophyletic. So monophyletic means what? When the ancestor and all of its descendants are considered in one group, that is called as monophyletic. Okay, so the one that is marked here is monophyletic. If I say a group of C, D, E, one ancestor, two descendants, okay, that is also monophyletic. This group also, if I say, is monophyletic. Okay, this group, if I consider, is also monophyletic. And if I consider them all together like this, okay, then also it will be called as monophyletic. Okay, what is important for that? So it does not matter how big or how small the group is. What matters is that ancestor plus all descendants are together in the group. That will be called as a monophyletic group. Okay. Right. Now, what will be paraphyletic group? So, paraphyletic group is the one where the ancestor is considered, okay, but not all of its descendants are considered. So, this J is a descendant, okay, but we are not considering it. Or if we say a group of this, okay, then also it will be a paraphyletic, okay. If we consider a group like this, then also it will be paraphyletic, okay. So, basically, ancestor is there, but not all descendants. That is paraphyletic. And then what will be polyphyletic? So polyphyletic is the most unnatural group where we can place taxa of different taxa coming from different ancestors. Okay, because in polyphyletic we do not include ancestor, the common ancestor. The common ancestor is not included. So that is called as polyphyletic group. Now, if we go back and see our question here, so this group, what do we see? That the common ancestor plus all its descendants are considered, right? So it will be monophyletic. In Y, what is there? The common ancestor is there, but all of its descendants are not considered. Okay, G is left out of the group. So it will be a paraphyletic. Okay, very easy, everyone. So here just you have to remember the terms. So if you are able to remember the terms, see, the exact same kind of question is asked. So the same similar structure. Okay, it's not that something it is which is very new. All right, next question. What are possible evolutionary consequences of neutral genetic variation? Okay, now again we are talking about the neutral theory. So, what will be the possible evolutionary consequences? First, neutral evolution cannot produce evolutionary change. Neutral variation can result in evolution of adaptation. Neutral variation can produce evolutionary change, but these changes are in random direction. Neutral variation leads to inheritance of acquired characters. What will be the answer? Yes, absolutely correct. So all of you have given the correct answer that neutral variation can produce evolutionary change, but these changes can be in random direction. So if we do a quick comparison of Darwin's evolution by natural selection and neutral evolution. So Darwin's theory of natural selection, what it says that randomly there will be variation. Okay, so there will be variation. Now, what all variation allows the individual a better chance of reproduction, they will survive. So this D, if it is making the individual more successful in the competition in that particular environment, so they will survive better, they will produce more offspring. So in the coming generation, the number of individuals with that particular variation will keep on increasing. Okay, ultimately the entire population will be having the same variation. Okay, and the less important or the less useful variation will be lost. Now, what about neutral theory? So, neutral theory says that it can go in any direction. So, if we are talking about this, okay, so suppose this is the, so it is also possible that it can be this way, that C increases, okay, or it can also be possible that the variation, the entire population starts showing D, okay. But for that, what is important? That C or D are selectively neutral. They do not provide the individual with any kind of selection benefit. All right. Now, before we move ahead, a quick announcement on the Watson Scholarship. I know by now you all know about it, but please remember that the deadline is 31st July. Okay, so if you have somebody, if you are there in the class, if you have somebody who wants to join Biotechnica, do not forget to mention about this Watson Impact Scholarship. All right. Moving to question number 4. Which one of the following statement is not true about homologous characters? Not true. Okay. Now, this kind of questions are important. So where you understand what is asked and what you don't have to answer. So it is not asking about the statements that are true about homologous characters. Here it is not true or false. What will be the answer here? Ashu, again, see the question. We have to select the statement that is not true about homologous character. If you say option D, then option D is absolutely, it is the definition of homologous characters. That these characters are similar in structure but different in function. Okay. So definitely option 4 is not there. It is the true statement about homologous characters. Yes, apart from that, yeah. So far, everybody has given the correct answer. So, homologous trait that is derived and shared for common ancestor is called as autapomorphy. Okay, so we have talked about this in the class also, and you might be knowing about the explanation here also. So, aut means unique, apo means derived, morphy is a character. Okay, now what is uniquely derived character? So, A is giving rise to B and C. Okay, two descendants. Okay, so suppose A is passed from the ancestor. So A is a character which is passed from ancestor to both the descendant. Okay, so that will be a, so if I'm saying that there's one more ancestor, E here. Okay, so E changed to A, and then this A is passed on to both the descendants of this most recent common ancestor. Okay, so A will be called as, it's the shared character. It is shared between the sister taxa and the most recent common ancestor. So that will be called as synapomorphy. Syn stands for shared. Okay. So what is the question if you see? Which is not true about homologous characters. So option C is saying that a homologous trace that is derived and shared. That is derived and shared from a common ancestor. Okay, that is called as autapomorphy. But that is wrong, because aut here means uniquely derived character. So any character, if that is uniquely present in a particular group only, particular species only, not present in the ancestor, not present in the sister taxa, then it is called as autapomorphy. Now, if the character is shared between the most recent common ancestor and the sister taxa, then it will be called as synapomorphy, not autapomorphy. Okay, so that's why option number 3 is the answer here. Next question. Following diagrams represent various ways in which characters may evolve. Which of the following is the correct definition for the character evolution pattern shown above? So always when there is a graphical representation or when there is a pictorial representation, read the legends. Okay, what sign means what. So here it is saying that black spot means derived traits, white spot means ancestral traits. Okay, so here as you see in this A, so here, these are all ancestral traits, and this group is sharing the derived traits. Okay, now here all whites are ancestral traits. So these two individuals or these two species which do not have any common, any most recent common ancestor, they are having the similar character. Okay. So what is a term that we use for it? And the third one is showing only one derived character, and everyone else are ancestral character. Yes, absolutely right, all the students. So, so A will be synapomorphy because it is shared. Okay, common ancestor plus both of its descendants have it. So it will be called as synapomorphy, shared ancestral characters. Now, the situation where the same derived character evolves in two different species which do not share the most recent common ancestor, then it is called as homoplasy. Okay, and the third one was this, that there's only one uniquely derived character, whereas all others are having the ancestral character only. So this will be autapomorphy, uniquely derived uh, character. Okay, so that's why answer is option 4. Now you see, okay, so this was a question, right, in CSIR exam, and the same image is given in standard books. Okay, so this image that I have taken, it is taken from standard books, and not only book. If you look for all this inheritance pattern of the different characters, okay, so here in, if you search it in Google, you will get this image. Okay, so the same image is taken in the exam and the question is asked. So, right, so that kind of shows us that we have to read the books, or we have to focus on the images or the tables that are given in the book, which many a times we overlook. Okay, next question. The phylogeny below shows evolutionary relationship between two extant bird species and whether they display red or blue plumage. Based on the given phylogeny and distribution of red and blue characters, states among the extant species, using the principle of parsimony, which of the following is the correct inference about plumage color of the ancestor at the root P? So, what will be the character of the ancestor? What is the most probable character of this root, the ancestor that is present at the root? Okay. Yes, I see some answers coming in. Yes, some more answers, please. Everyone. Yes. Correct answer is option A. Now, how do we get answer A? So, to answer this kind of question, we have to think about the analysis which is called as out group analysis. Okay. Now, first of all, what is an outgroup? So, outgroup is the species which diverges first from the ancestor. Okay. Now, because it diverges first from the ancestor, so most of the characters that the outgroup will have will be similar to the ancestor. Okay. Right. Now, that is one method. Okay. So, I'll tell you like there are two different methods also to find out the character of the ancestor. Okay. So, which one is the outgroup? The group which diverges first. So, this is the outgroup. Okay. Now, since outgroup has the blue plumage, then the chances are very high that the ancestor also has the blue plumage. Okay. Now, what it is saying that find out the character of the ancestor using the principle of parsimony. Okay. Now, whenever you are trying to solve this phylogenetic tree, so this related question, so you are very often going to come across this principle of parsimony. So, what does this principle of parsimony says? So, principle of parsimony says that most probable explanation of evolution is the simplest one. Okay. Now, what does it mean? That if two descendant species are having the same character, then the chances are very high that they have both got it from their most recent common ancestor in comparison to both of them evolving that character independently. Okay. So, understanding that like you using that principle when we see, okay, so let's find out that if we see that if we say that the ancestor was red, okay, I'm marking with red only. So if I say that the ancestor was red, then how many evolutionary events were required? So if, so this is one hypothesis we are making. Okay, so hypothesis A. Okay. So if we have if we consider that the ancestor was red, right? So that means one evolutionary event has to be here, which is making blue here. Okay. Again, one evolutionary event has to happen here, okay, which is making it blue. Okay. Now this side is continuing red, so there is no evolution here. Now again one more, so they both have blue, so very possible that they have got it from their common ancestor, right? So I'm sorry, we were doing it. Yeah. So how many evolutionary events are required here? Three. Okay. Now let's see for blue. So if we consider that this is blue, okay, what does that mean? That till here there is no evolution, they both have got blue. Okay, one evolutionary event happened here because of which blue changed to red. Okay, and now all these ancestors, all these species are having red. That means their most recent common ancestor is here. That means one change has happened here. Okay, so according to our hypothesis B, how many times red has evolved? Only two. So according to maximum parsimony, which hypothesis or which tree is the most probable one? The one with least number of evolutionary events. So since hypothesis B has least number of evolutionary events, so it is most likely. Now, for this hypothesis B, what we are considering, what is the character of the ancestor? The ancestor character is blue. So that's why answer will be A. Do you get me, everyone? So there's one way of how I like you find out the evolutionary events and check. Okay. The other way is you compare that is the easiest way, the outgroup analysis. Okay. You compare the ancestor with the outgroup. So they will have the character, the ancestors will usually have the character what the outgroup has. And that is what is called as the outgroup analysis. Is it followed? All right. Next question. Forelimb of human and flippers of whale are embryologically homologous structure. What does the study of homologous structure tell us about evolution? So forelimbs of human and flippers of whale. Okay. So they are homologous structure. What does that mean? They have same structure but different function. So in case of humans, we use our hands to grab things, whereas the whales, they will use their flippers as fins to travel fast, okay, to swim fast. So statement A says this is an example of adaptive radiation occurred due to similar group of organism inhabiting different environment. Now that is absolutely true, okay, because the whale is a mammal. Okay, so what happened that our mammalian ancestor, once the mammal has evolved, okay, so then a small part group of mammals, they went back to water. Okay, and the water, the forelimbs, they started using it for swimming, and that is how over the generations they got flippers. Okay, now since humans, so there was a common ancestor which was a mammal. Okay, now from that mammal two groups were created. Okay, human ancestor and whale ancestor. So whale ancestor did what? They went back to water. Okay, so whale went back to water, whereas humans, they lived in the land, on the land. Okay, so in a different environment, they both evolved, and that is why they have similar structure but use it for different functions. So it's an example of adaptive radiation. Statement one, A is correct. Now, B says this is an example of divergent evolution occurred due to similar group of organism inhibiting different environment. Now, that is also true because they are all both mammals, but since they are now accustomed to live in different environment, that is why they are using it for different function. See, similar group of organisms with mutations and variation getting naturally selected in different environment. Now, that is also true. Okay, because the pressure, the selection pressure of different environments are different, so they are succeeding, or these modifications of the in the similar structure has happened because of different selection pressure. Okay, so statement C is also correct. D says this is an example of convergent evolution occurred due to similar group of organism inhibiting different environment. But this is not an convergent evolution. What is convergent evolution? We get the idea of convergent evolution from analogous structures, means different structure but similar function, and that is possible when different organisms, these evolve in a different in the same environment or in the same ecosystem under the same selection pressure. So they have different structure, but they use it for the same purpose. Okay, so this is wrong about homologous structure. This is true for analogous structures. Okay, so answer, the correct combination will be A, B, and C. Okay, well, one more next question. So, as a biologist, you want to classify three taxa A, B, and C. You have the information on three traits P, Q, and R. The trait that is ancestral is counted as 0. The trait that is derived is counted as 1. The distribution of traits found in three taxa are given below. Okay, so P, Q, and R, these are the traits. A, B, C are the taxa. Okay, now this thing should be very clear to us when we are reading a table, when we are reading a graph. Okay, so A, B, C, these are the taxa, or these are the species. PQR, these are the traits or the characters. Okay, so now what is one more thing it is saying? If it is marked 0 means the character is ancestral character. If it is marked 1 means it is derived character. Okay, so when we have to find out the most probable tree. Okay, and for that, and also we have to consider distribution traits are given. Based on the above table, the following cladograms are drawn. Based on the trait distribution and the principle of parsimony, select the correct option. Okay, so a correct phylogenetic tree, how do we decide? So first of all, it should be consistent with the facts that are given or that are been found by us. And second, it should follow the principle of maximum parsimony. Now, according to principle of maximum parsimony, what does it mean? That least number of evolutionary events, a tree showing least number of evolutionary events will be most popular. Okay, so what do we have here? So let's find the tree which are consistent first, okay, with the information. So for A, it is saying it has P and Q, but for R, it is the ancestral character. Okay, so for A option, we see yes, A is having P and Q. Okay, no R there. So it is possible. For B also we have P and Q for A, not R. So possible. For C, it is just having P. It is not having Q. Whereas according to the table, Q also should be there. Okay, so immediately you can eliminate C. Now, when you eliminate C, this option also gets eliminated, right? Option C. Now, next, what do we have? So B. Now, for B, what do we see? That P, Q, and R. So this is right. Here also P, Q, and R. B has P, Q, and R. This evolutionary event. So here also it is satisfying. Now, what about C? C is having only R as the derived character. So here C has only R, and here also you see C has R. Okay, fine. So we see that both the phylogenetic tree A and B, they are possible. Okay, because they are they are going true with the information. Okay, but not only that, we also have to consider the principle of maximum parsimony. And according to principle of maximum parsimony, the phylogenetic tree showing the least number of evolutionary event will be the most probable one. So if we see for A, there are 4 evolutionary events, 1 2 3 4, whereas for B there are 5 evolutionary events. Okay, now you can do the math and you know the answer. So only A cladogram is possible. Option 4. That's right, Surendra and Achal. All right, next question. Most appropriate cladogram that can be constructed using the data matrix given below, assuming 0 for plesiomorphic and 1 for apomorphic. Okay, so when these scientific terms are given, so immediately you should remember the or recall the common terms. Okay, so plesiomorphic means ancestral characters, apomorphic means derived characters. Okay, so every derived character there is one. For ancestral characters, it is 0. Okay, so this is the table which is given in the question. You have to read the table and construct the phylogenetic tree. Yes, anyone wants to give the answer? Yes, you have to read the table and make the phylogenetic tree. So what do we see here? That for A. Now A is what? A is the species. Okay, when you see the phylogenetic tree which is given in the option, immediately you can make out that A, B, C, D's, they are the taxa or they are the species, whereas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the traits or the characters. Okay. So what did we talk about? We talked about the outgroup. Outgroup is what? The group that deviated or that evolved first from the common ancestor. Okay. So it is the first branch that is coming out in the tree from the root. All right. So what it will be? The outgroup. And in outgroup, what do we see? It has the maximum number of ancestral characters. Okay, so if you see A, species A is the one with maximum number of zeros. That means A has to be the outgroup. Okay, fine. So as you find out that A has to be the outgroup, then you can eliminate option 3 and 4. Fine. Now, next, what do we have? So, how do we make the phylogenetic tree? So, here basically we'll be making the tree by arranging the groups in their increasing order or increasing number of derived characters. Okay, so the taxa, which is the outgroup which derived first from the common root, will have least number of derived characters and maximum number of ancestral character. Okay, but the group which has been derived recently, okay, that will be the one having the least number of ancestral characters and highest number of derived characters. Okay, so after A, basically A has maximum 0. So which is the other species that has the next maximum 0? Yes, quickly, can I have some answer? Which group next in the line Q is there which has least number of ancestral character? That's right. Species C. It has only one ancestral character. Okay. So the next evolved species will be C. Okay. Now from there only you got your answer. You can eliminate one. Okay. But let's place the others also. So next in the line will be what? The one having more like more than one, two ancestral characters. So B has, sorry, two derived characters. So B has two derived characters. So next evolved will be this, and last will be D. Okay, so that's the species that has evolved last will have the minimum ancestral characters and maximum derived characters. Okay, next question. Which of the following phylogenetic tree appropriately uses the principle of parsimony? So you can see that this principle of parsimony has been asked again and again. And to answer this question is extremely easy. You just have to count the number of evolutionary events. But many a times, if you are not reading this chapter, okay, so you will not understand what is this principle of parsimony, maximum parsimony. Yes, so for there are four phylogenetic trees given. So let's count the evolutionary events here. Okay, so each vertical line that you see are cutting the branches. So they are the evolutionary events. Okay, so how many we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For option 2, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For option 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For fourth option, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so you see A, 1, 3, and 4, they all have 11 evolutionary events, but 2 is the only one with the 10 evolutionary events. Okay, so the tree having the least number of evolutionary events will be the most parsimonious tree. Do you all follow? Everyone, do you understand what is this principle of maximum parsimony? All right, moving on. Next question. The figure below shows a gene duplication event followed by a divergence event in species 1 and 2. Based on the details given above, determine what is represented by A and B. Okay, so basically, it is saying that this one, this black and this black, what is it, or what is the relationship between them? And this black and this white, what is the relationship between them? Okay, so first to understand this black and red, okay, to call it or what kind of like paralogs or orthologs. So first we see the evolution process here. So there's an ancestral gene that first undergoes gene duplication, forms a copy. They both will accumulate changes in them differently, and that's why ultimately they will have different colors. Okay, now now speciation has happened. So in the ancestor only, it first got duplicated, and then speciation happened, and the ancestor split into two different descendants. Okay, now each of these descendants will be so they are different species, so they do not interbreed among themselves. So whatever changes are accumulated in them will be accumulated in their own way. Okay, so that they will become incompatible to each other. Okay, so if we take one gene from one species and the gene present at the same locus in another species, okay, what do we call that gene? The group of genes that differ from each other because of different species of their owner individual. What kind of species are what kind of genes are they? They are orthologous genes. Orthologs and paralogs, they both are homologous genes. Homologous genes means the genes which have the similar nucleotide sequence and they are similar nucleotide sequence. Okay, so orthologous means the genes which deviate or which differentiate from each other because they are present in different species. Okay, so this is species 1, this is species 2. So this one and this one, they are present at the same locus. Once upon a time in the ancestor it was same, but now it is present in two different species. Okay, so it will be called as ortholog. Now what about B? B is showing black of this species 1 and white of the species 2. Okay, so first of all you see the tree. So how this black and white were formed? Because of gene duplication. Means black and white, these two are paralogs. Okay, so now because of evolution, because of speciation, they have moved on to different species. So one one of the black one of species 1 will be a paralog of the gene with species 2. Okay, because they have arisen as a result of gene duplication in the ancestor. Okay, so that's why we have seen that there are two kind of paralogs, out paralog and in paralog. Okay, so this one out paralog here. All right. So I was asking, we were talking about this question 12. So this question was asked in the last CSIR exam, which happened in June. So you have to find out the tree, which are two trees actually, you have to find out which are equally most parsimonious. So most parsimonious means least number of evolutionary events. So here it is very, very easy. Okay. So what do we have? This tree, if you see, it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 events. Here B has 4 events. C has again 4 events and D has 5 events. Okay. So which two tree are most parsimonious? B and C. So answer will be option B. All right. So with this, we come to the end of this session. I am very sorry for the technical difficulty that came in the middle and it interrupted our class. Actually, it's raining a lot here at Bangalore, and because of that, might be the issue was there. Anyways, thank you everyone for your patience and for staying with me to through the whole question discussion. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it helpful, and see you all in the next class. Do not forget to join our sessions 5 o'clock tomorrow again. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Have a good evening.